For 30 years, this piece of steel went straight through hoods, through dashboards, through the space where a driver sits. Not because the guardrail failed, because it worked exactly as it was built. That curl you drive past every day at 70 miles an hour is the fix. And the story of how it got there cost lives, launched cars into the air, survived a $663 million fraud verdict, and came down to one engineer who figured out how to make steel swallow itself. Steel guardrails first appeared on American roads in 1933. That familiar shape, with two corrugated humps, looks like the letter W. The shape gives the rail its strength. A flat plate the same thickness would fold like paper on impact, but those humps hold. Nobody asked what happened when a car hit the end. For 3 decades, guardrails just stopped. A flat metal cap covered the exposed edge, and nothing else. A driver drifting off the road at 60 miles per hour would hit that cap, and the steel would not bend. It would not break. It would go straight through the hood, through the firewall, through the cabin. Sometimes it did not stop there. Then came the 1956 Federal Aid Highway Act. 41,000 miles of brand new interstate, all lined with guardrails. More roads, more speed, more exposed ends. And the fatal impacts spread across the country without a sound. Engineers caught the problem in the mid-1960s. The fix seemed obvious. Bend the rail downward at the end and bury it in the ground. No more exposed edge. No more spearing. Simple. It turned guardrails into launch ramps. A car hitting that buried curve at highway speed would ride up the steel and leave the ground. Flipping, spinning, sailing straight into the bridge column the guardrail was supposed to protect them from. Southwest Research Institute filmed the vaulting and crash tests during the 1970s. The footage was impossible to misread, and the design stayed standard for 20 more years. The Federal Highway Administration did not ban turn-down ends on high-speed roads until June of 1990. 20 years of filmed proof sitting in a drawer while drivers kept dying on a fix everyone already knew was broken. The real shift came from one person. Dean L. Sicking, a mechanical engineer at the Texas A&M Transportation Institute, started working in 1986 on something no one had tried. He did not want the guardrail end to vanish. He did not want it to snap off. He wanted the car to eat the rail alive. His device was the ET-2000. A steel impact head sat at the front of the W-beam with a narrow throat inside. When a car slammed into it, the head got pushed backward along the rail. As the corrugated steel fed through that tight opening, it was crushed flat, from a W into a ribbon. That violent reshaping of metal burned off massive amounts of energy. Posts snapped off one after another. The car slowed over 50 feet, instead of stopping in a wall of force. The first real-world save happened on Interstate 35 near Buda, Texas. The driver opened the door and walked away. Not a scratch. A study of 400 crashes found 3 injuries. 0 fatalities. Sicking received the 2005 National Medal of Technology and Innovation from President George W. Bush. He holds over 30 patents. He co-invented the safer barrier used in NASCAR, and almost nobody knows his name. The man who probably saved more American drivers than anyone alive in the last 40 years is someone you have never heard of. Trinity Highway Products held the exclusive license to build the ET Plus, the next version of Sicking's design. They controlled 90% of the American guardrail market. In 2005, they quietly shrank the guide channels from 5 inches to 4 inches. It saved $2 per unit. They never told federal regulators. 1 inch of missing steel, $2 in savings. Joshua Harmon, a small guardrail installer from Bristol, Virginia, spent 2 weeks driving 8 states alone, pulling over at crash site after crash site, photographing damaged terminals. He counted what he believed were over 40 deaths and more than 100 serious injuries linked to the modified design. His explanation was simple. The narrower throat jammed on impact. The steel could not feed through. The guardrail stopped absorbing energy and went back to being a spear. Harmon filed suit alone, one small contractor from Virginia against the company that owned the market. A jury found Trinity liable. The verdict landed at $663 million, the largest False Claims Act judgment in American history at that time. Then it vanished. Trinity ran new crash tests. Regulators said the ET Plus passed all 8 tests. A federal appeals court wiped the verdict clean. Unanimous. Harmon got nothing. His company filed for bankruptcy. If the tests always passed, why did Trinity never disclose the change in the first place? 50,000 miles of guardrails stretch across this country right now. Every curled end, every capped terminal you blow past at 70 miles per hour is an answer written in steel to a question nobody wanted to ask out loud. What happens when a car leaves the road? Every generation answered it, and every answer was paid for by the people who came before. Next time you pass that curl, you will know what it is, and you will know what was there before it. If stories like this one change the way you look at the things you see every day, there are more on this channel. You will find them worth knowing. See you next time.